boys and girls. I hope you're having a really good week. I know today's weather is a little bit kind of sad. It's raining here where I live, and I was actually going to sit out on my front porch. I got this beautiful flower from one of you yesterday. They delivered it to my front door. Someone walked up and gave me this beautiful flower and a card. And so if you sent me that, you know who you are, and I'm so grateful for that. I was going to sit outside on my front porch right by my pretty new flower, but it's pouring down rain outside. So we're going to sit in our right same spot, and I'm going to read you a story today. Today we're going to be reading the story, Alexander and the Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Now when we read this story, what we're going to be working on today is comparing this book to another book. Now, last week we read the story Grumpy Monkey. Hopefully you remember what this one was about. It's about a chimpanzee named Jim. And Jim was having a very bad day. And in this story, I told you to listen for the main idea and what the story was really trying to teach you. It was teaching you a lesson. And in this story, the lesson was that it's okay to have bad days. It was okay for Jim to feel grumpy. And when we read our story today, we're going to compare it to that at the end. So you're going to have to leave me a comment below or write me a letter or send me a message on Remind and let me know how they are the same. When we compare something, we're comparing them or seeing how they are the same. Okay? So let's read our story today. Alexander and the Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. And you'll notice in this story that the pictures are black and white, just like the story we read, The Giving Tree. So let's read. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Oh my goodness, a lot of bad things have already happened, and we're on the first page. Poor Alexander. At breakfast, Anthony found a Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was cereal. I think I'm going to move to Australia, Alexander thought. In the carpool, Miss Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I didn't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. But no one answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Miss Dickens let Paul's picture of the sailboat, liked his picture better of the sailboat than the picture that I made of an invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. And counting time, she said I left out the number 16. But who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul, which is not something that you say. It's not very nice. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone and the ice cream part falls off the cone and it lands in Australia. Is that very nice? There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? Whose? Alexander's. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. He's having lots go wrong, isn't he? That's what it was. Because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm moving to Australia. He looked so grumpy, just like Jim the chimpanzee. Remember, we're going to compare them and see how they are the same. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot. And while we were waiting for my mom to get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. And then I was being mean to Nick for saying that I was a crybaby. And my mom came back with the car and got on to me for being muddy and being ugly. So he got in trouble, but not Nick. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. No one even cares. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the shoe man said, we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones. But they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine. But I forgot. He also said to watch out for books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with this phone, but I think I may have called Australia. My dad said please don't pick him up anymore. I was having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Look at all the oopses Alexander made. There were lima beans for dinner. I hate lima beans. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the bathtub drain. And I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep. And the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out. And I bit my tongue. The cat wanted to sleep with Anthony, and not me. It was just a horrible, no good, very bad day. But my mom says some days are just like that. Even if I did live in Australia. So remember, today as we read this story, we were listening to Alexander and his terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And we were going to see how it was the same as Jim's grumpy day. So when you write me a message or write me a letter, I want you to let me know how they are the same, how Alexander and how Jim are the same. What was the same in our story? So we know that Alexander, everything just seemed to be wrong and nothing made him happy. And what about Jim? Jim, he tried to dance. Do y'all remember that? And he still felt grumpy. So when you leave me a comment or write me a message, let me know how they're the same, how our two characters and their stories were the same. I love y'all so much, and I can't wait to read our book on Friday. Bye.